Okay,
Hello.
going live, going live.
It says live on Facebook on my end.
Woo! We did it!
Hi, Facebook.
Technology.
You
Technology. It's
did it.
working. It's a miracle. Well, hello and welcome everyone to the very first episode of the Creative Agents. This show is going to be wonderful. It's a place to get awesome ideas on how to do really cool things to supercharge your business using your creativity. And today, for my first guest, I have Cara Hartley, a wonderful, amazing local person who has so many talents that I don't even know how to describe her. But artist is the word that comes to mind. And she's not a real estate agent, but I won't hold that against her. I'm just kidding. She's smart enough not to be a real estate agent. No, I'm just kidding. But she's we have a lot of cool stuff that we're going to talk about though. That's going to be definitely relatable to what real estate agents do, because really what we're talking about is balancing our creative drive with our daily grind, the hustle. And Cara knows about the hustle. Everybody knows about the hustle. So Cara, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I remember the first time I met you, I was just like attracted to your energy. It's like, she's cool. I came home from that class and I was like, I think I have a friend maybe to my boyfriend.
Oh, that's so cool. You know what? I definitely felt a similar thing as well. And to because everybody doesn't know where we met, maybe I'll explain that. I met Cara at Painting with a Twist. I was there for a kids class with my daughter, my older daughter Arena, and Cara was one of the teachers. I think there might have been a couple of you because I think it was a workshop or something.
Yeah.
But I had this like inclination to ask Cara if she taught private lessons. I don't know. I just kind of was like, oh, I'm making some money now with my real estate business. I deserve to do something like fun for my, something that I want to do, new hobby or something. And I've always loved painting. And I felt I had definitely had like a really good vibe from you. You have great energy. Yeah. So yeah, my pleasure. So basically, I think first of all, let's tell everybody, why don't you tell people, like, how do you introduce yourself or explain if somebody asks you, Cara Hartley, what do you do for a living? Like, what do you say? What's your answer to that? Let's start there.
This is like the hardest question.
Yeah, it's hard.
Out of all the questions in the world. So I'm a writer and I'm an artist, and I don't know, money just comes to me. I know that sounds nuts, but it just like seems like no matter what I do, I have all my needs taken care of financially. So that probably sounds like really crazy, but I love to write and I love to make art and it works for me. So I suppose that's my profession.
I dig it, man. That's great. That's great. Well, it does seem like if there's a need, the universe tends to fill it, and it seems like you're doing what you're called to do.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I've tried about 50 other jobs and none of them really stuck. So
yeah.
These are the right things for me to do, is to like pursue my creative passions for sure. And I really feel that like when you like pursue what you're good at, what you're passionate about, like that helps other people in the world. Like it's easy to be like, oh, I'm just painting a painting, like that's selfish, that's self-centered, that's just fulfilling a need for me. But when you do that, you show other people that they can also pursue their passions, and that makes the world a better place. To me, that's something that's really important to me.
Very cool. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like being centered in yourself helps other people be centered in their self too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, I have to tell you, I mentioned this prior to me mentioning it now, but I'll repeat it, that you definitely inspired me with a number of your projects, but most specifically related to what we're doing now. You have a podcast, The Audible Guide to Needless Sorrow,
Yeah.
And I had seen you posting about it on Facebook. And one day I was at the gym and I was like, what should I listen to? What should I listen to? And I was like, oh, I need to look up Cara's podcast. I need to check it out. And I started listening to it that day, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed, and just in general, it was very well executed. I have to say, like,
Thank
yeah,
you. I was
yeah.
kind of winging it. So thank you.
What?
I was kind of winging it, like when I first started doing it all. So
Yeah.
it gets better
Well,
as I go along.
I noticed that too, but but it's good. Like, anyway, you talk about a lot of cool stuff on there, and I think it's neat that you branched out because, like I said, I mean, we met basically through art, and you came out, you actually did teach me lessons. It was so much fun. It was like two
Yeah,
summers ago, pre-COVID era.
man.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about writing because we both have a intense history of journaling. What do it like crazy journaling? Yeah,
So many
like
journals.
like lots of writing. So I knew that. I knew that you wrote and that you had published a book. But tell me more about the podcast. What made you decide to, record a podcast?
Okay, so the podcast actually started as a book idea, and I was working so hard on it's still going to be turned into a book at some point. Um, but it wasn't feeling right to me. Like I kept writing it, and then I kept learning new things, and then I was like, oh, I want to put that in the book. I want to put that in the book. I want to put that in the book. So I wrote the entire book. It's done. But
That's cool.
I kind of thought, like, why wait? Like, COVID's happening right now. Like, people need to hear this information right now. Like, what's the point in waiting and like however long it's going to take me to finish the illustrations? I should put this information out now, and I should put it out in a way that even people who are into reading, like, can have that information, have access to that information. So
Hmm.
I just kind of just did it. And I'm also like, I don't know. I just really wanted to do a podcast for a long time. I was like, oh, I should do a podcast. And it just all came together. Like the book's still coming later, but all these topics seemed really pertinent to what was happening in the world. Like a lot of people are having anxiety and depression and fear. And a lot of the content of the book was tools and techniques for how to deal with those kind of like mental health issues that come up for everyone. Everyone experiences
Hmm.
those feelings at some point in their life.
Right.
So that's really what made me create the podcast in the first place. And the second season will be starting next week, actually. So
Oh,
good
wow.
time.
Okay. Whoa. So
Yeah.
wait. There are seasons there's different seasons to the podcast. Tell me about that.
Mhm. So the first season was sort of just an introduction to like how to deal with your feelings, like how to become more consciously aware of your thoughts and the effect they have on your physical reality around you, and sort of a little brief introduction into like manifestation and like that kind of what is referred to a lot as like woo woo, but like I'm super into like energetic, like how everything energy and all that. And then the
Hmm.
second season is going to be going a little deeper into that. So more about like meditation and like getting into a mindset where you can actually like bring better things into your life. Not through just like sitting around and dreaming about it, but like through taking action steps and um, just getting in touch with what you actually want in the world. So it's more like actionable items you can
Hmm.
work on to create a more intriguing reality.
I love it. I love your use of the word intriguing because
Yeah,
I actually noticed that on your I think your tagline for your creative conjunction website
yes,
is,
you remembered.
yes. Well, I heard you talking about it today, and I listened today. And then I also went and visited your website. It looks amazing. And I saw that who doesn't want to live a more intriguing life?
Who doesn't? And it's like, yeah, it's like a lot of people are like, I want to be richer or I want to like hot boyfriend or whatever. But like, what if you just see how interesting and cool of a life you can live? Like, what if
Right,
that's your goal? You'll probably get a
right.
hot boyfriend along the way. You'll get,
Yeah. And it's something you can explore and unfold every day. It's not like you're gonna, reach like an apex and it's like, oh, now life is less intriguing. Oh, there's nothing left to
that.
experience anymore. It's done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, very cool. Let's talk a little bit about because before you were employed, you had an employer, like an official employer, right? I don't know the company Painting with a Twist, if that's what basically that was your job, right? As far as
Yeah,
the steady paycheck.
yeah, for sure.
So how has the pandemic affected, I mean, they recently closed, correct? Or a while
Yeah,
ago, right?
yeah, they closed in November. Um, yeah, so I was working a lot for Painting with a Twist. So I was doing classes, but I was also doing like studio work and marketing as well with them. And
Oh,
then I was also teaching art classes to the kids at Montessori Public School here in town. And I also had private art clients. And so like doing art lessons
yeah.
like we did, both kids and adults. And all of that just like whoop, out the window. I like had literally no financial income after when COVID happened. So it was really like, oh, it was really, I had
Yeah.
kind of a panic at first when it came. And I think a lot of people were in the same boat. Like I was like, oh man, I have no idea where any, like my next source of income is going to come from. And it was so crazy. Like people who I hadn't talked to in years, like two of my friends just randomly sent me money and were like, hey, I just felt like I should send you money. One of my friends sent me a bunch of money, like every week. He was like, I'm just send you some money. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And it would just pop up in my like Apple Wallet or whatever. Like, all right.
Wow.
And then, so I decided to create a website and start doing like custom art, and that was financially successful as well. Like people were ordering from my website and in person too. Just as soon as I put that out there that I was making custom art, so COVID really kind of forced me to figure out how to create like virtual income, I guess is how you would call it, and just trust that like I would be taken care of, even if I like stability. I love having like a steady income that I know it's coming every week. I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people are like that, but it really
Yeah.
helped me to have a lot of faith that things would work out. Um, yeah, it was really interesting for sure.
I can
Um,
imagine. Yeah.
but yeah, it was kind of awesome in a way. I mean, COVID's not awesome, but like kind of awesome in the way that it like kind of forced my hand. It was like, all right, you can actually do things even if it's not what you are expecting or used to or rely on. Like you can make it
Right.
work.
Yeah. I think COVID was definitely a shaker upper for everyone, regardless of where they were in life and what they were doing. It definitely caused a lot of disruption and an opportunity to put things back together in a new way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like how you say that. Like sometimes things have to fall apart before they can come together.
Yeah.
Sure, that's
Yes.
a cool way to put that, but I love it.
Cool. So okay, one thing I want to talk to you about too that I was just thinking about is I bought stuff from you on your website before you made your new one, I think this might be an older website because it was when I ordered a really cool custom coloring book that I sent you pictures and you made coloring pages out of my pictures and I gave it as a gift to my mom, which she loved. Um, but I noticed, and I don't think we ever talked about this, but I noticed that on your store, each product that you have, your prices are very interesting. It will be like 11.11 or 3.33 or 7.77. What's the significance of the numbers?
So my mom's like really in, they're called angel numbers. My mom's really into them and it used to drive me nuts. She'd be like, it's 11. I'd be like, cool, mom. And would like send me pictures of like conspicuous dates, like, oh, it's like 1-1, I'm like, all right, great. But then like I'm like, I see those kind of numbers all the time too. And I just really like double numbers. And now I take them as like a sign from the universe that I'm being taken care of and like things are going well and I'm on the right path. So just to me, I just like to do fun little things like that to like incorporate that into my art, into my sales, and just I like the way it feels. It feels good, it feels fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, angel numbers, those are fun. Those are one of my signs. I have lots of signs.
I like it. I like it. Well, I like your take on marketing. A lot of times there's a conception, maybe a misconception, or maybe it's just a generalization that's sometimes true, but not always, that creative people can't be good at business, and that those two realms are separate. They do not intersect, and you're either creative, fancy-free daydreamer, or you're a numbers, logical, concrete, let's get this done sales person. What do you think about that? Do you think that have you struggled to integrate the two since you're doing both right now?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Marketing was one of the most challenging things in the world to me. And I think it's especially true for like creative people who like work to sell their art or their writing or whatever abilities they have. Just because it's like you're putting yourself out there and you're opening yourself up to like rejection or ridicule. So that's like really hard. Like, you don't want to put yourself out there like people think you're a fool or like your work sucks. At the same time, like you have to market yourself and you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe in like the work that you create has value and is bringing value to the world. So it's definitely it's a lesson that I'm continuously learning and working on. Like some days I'm like, oh, I don't want to market myself. I hate like the salesy aspect of it. But that's like telling me a lot about myself, why do I hate the salesy aspect? Like, what is that strong emotion telling me? It's telling me I need to have more confidence in my work. I need to have more confidence in myself. So it's a constant, I don't want to say battle, but it's like a constant journey to figure out marketing and to do it in a way that feels in alignment with like how I want to present myself and the people that I want to, who my ideal clients are. So it's definitely something I'm always working on. Like I'm taking marketing courses right now. Like I'm always trying to learn more about it.
Awesome. I can definitely, I mean, I can tell you're working on it. Yeah. Do you think about a target audience when you're creating your content?
Okay. So it's more just like, it's not exactly like a demographic, like, oh, I want like 30-year-old women who, I don't know, I don't have that. It's more like my ideal client is you. So it's like kind of energy they have. Like I love to have people who are just excited, passionate, like want to learn and just love art, and want to have beautiful things in their house and love fun. Like it's just more like energy that I'm trying to attract more than like a specific type of person.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I have to like open my car door. I'm like so hot.
It's really stuffy. I'm in my the sunroom in my house, and I guess it's called sunroom, so it's not surprising that it's a little stuffy in here. But I don't know. I guess it doesn't have any AC return, so yeah, definitely a little hot here too. But it's all good. It's so weird. It's been so cold, so it's like, wait, what? It's hot now? I'm still adjusting to this. I'm used to like being cold. What's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
can you still hear me? You got me?
I can't. You went a little garbled for a second, but you're back. You're back. Well, I don't want you to get heat stroke or anything. Yeah, I think so. Are you back?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So back to. Let me know if you need to go though. Seriously, don't hurt yourself. Are you okay?
I put the window down. I just was trying to figure out how to do it with out turning the Bluetooth on in my car.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I got you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about let's go back to this whole idea of value and what your work, valuing your work, valuing your time. What do you think about money and how does that fit in? Have you ever had trouble thinking you were worthy of money or thinking that money was bad to want, or how do you feel about money? It's a complicated issue, so you know what I mean, sometimes for people.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like a lot of people, especially from our generation, grew up with this idea that's money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. We hear all these money stories growing up. about how it's like bad and people are greedy to want to have money. And it's like, money's just a tool, it's a tool, and what you do with it is what matters. So it's just like a knife. Like you could stab somebody with a knife, or you can like make a sandwich with it. Like it's what you do with it that matters. It's just a form of energy. It's just a form of I can't think of the words that I'm thinking of. It's just a currency, and I really like money. I love to have money. I love to be able to have a nice house to live in and feed my dogs. I home cook their meals. And
I'm not surprised. So then why does this not surprise me?
It just happened. I don't know how I became that person. But yeah, it's taken me a long time to get to that point though, because there was a time when I like hated money, and I was like, I don't ever want to, because I grew up, I'd seen my parents fight about money, and a lot of people have. I didn't want it to matter to me or to have any importance, so I grew up kind of rejecting it, and I was very kind of disrespectful to money, and I would just pretend like it didn't matter when it really does matter, like especially in the society we live in now. And I was like very, very anti-capitalist. I was like, hate the man, like down with big business. But I'm more like, feel like I have a more like kind of practical view of money now, where it's like, this is something that if I want to live in the society, like I need to have in order to create the kind of life that I desire to have. So where we are right now, it's good to have money. It's important, and I'm glad that I'm working through these like money beliefs that are kind of deeply ingrained, and creating a lifestyle where I can like let money flow into my life and also let it flow out and like have this kind of balance.
Yeah, that's a good place to be, where you're not you don't have a desperation feeling at all. You just feel like what you need is coming, and it's also not going to get stagnant and stuck in your life. You're going to also let it flow out to where it needs to go to.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's a great feeling. It's so much better than like desperation, or like I've lived in poverty. It sucks. Poverty sucks. Being poor sucks. I don't wish it for anyone. I wish that everyone can like have what they need and want in their lives, and more than enough. There's more than enough for everyone in the world.
Yeah. What is how about, let's just pivot just a bit. And I really something I wanted to touch on was schedule, because I think for everyone, scheduling is important, but especially for somebody who's creative, and to bring it back a little bit to real estate, for me, like schedule is tough, because when you're running your own business, nobody's telling you exactly what you need to do. You're the one that's telling you where your priorities need to be and what you need to do. And at the same time, trying not to be so ironclad fist about it that you get all stressed out if you don't check off every little thing off your list. I don't know if you're OCD like me, but that's, if I start I can go in that direction, and it's not always good. Sometimes I look at the list, and at first it like makes me feel calm because I made a list, and I look at it, and it just kind of starts to freak me out because it's like, it stresses me out. But so anyway, can we talk a little bit about how you manage productivity in your life, in your career?
Yeah, for sure. That's another thing it's like a work in progress. So I think the best things that I can do is I journal. I try to journal every morning, like when I get up. But like I try to journal every day, and an essential part of journaling for me is to create a list. So I do the top 3 things that are going to bring the most benefit to my life. And I try to make it like both short term and long term. But since we're like in the moment now, I just listen to like how I'm feeling. And some days that top 3 list includes like, if I'm doing commission work, it's like work on the commission, or, there's have to do things like you got to pay your rent today, probably, but some days it's just like, today is really important that I read and go to the beach and take my dogs on a hike. So it's just like figuring out a balance between that and like really listening to like what I need for that day. And then my very, very favorite productivity trick, I learned this on Reddit like some time ago, and it just helps me so much. If it takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. And that helps me so much, because like it can be daunting. Like if I have a whole painting to paint, I'm like, oh, it's going to take me so long. And if I'm not in the mood, because I'm not always motivated, you know. Some days I want to paint and some days I'm like, oh man, I would rather do anything else today.
Wow.
Um, but then if like you have that rule, then it's like, okay, it'll take me 5 minutes or less to like sketch the background. And then if I do that more often than not, then I'm like, okay, well, I'm already sitting here sketching the background. What if I just like do the first layer of the painting? So it's a really helpful little tip that helps me to get started when I might not necessarily be feeling like it. And it's just like a rule that I've incorporated into my daily life. So that's really helpful. And then like I think like respecting the seasons like of your creativity. So like sometimes you're going to be super inspired and motivated. And like some days I'll stay up till like 2 a.m. working on a project because I'm so inspired and like whatever like divine inspiration is like flowing through me. And like who am I to like not let divine inspiration flow? But other times I just am not feeling it. So, you know, you can do your 5 minutes of work on those days when you're really not feeling it, and let those days when you are really inspired carry you for longer terms of work. That doesn't make sense, but I think you know what I'm saying.
Longer term. Yeah, I know, I get it. Yeah. It makes sense. That's great. That definitely makes sense. There's a ebb and flow to everything for sure.
Yeah.
Where have you found the most, I guess this is kind of going back to what we were talking about with marketing, but I didn't want to leave this behind because I think this is definitely applicable to, you know, business owners in general. And I certainly spend a lot of my time figuring out my marketing message and where I'm going to share that message. What mediums, like as far as social media sites and things like that, have you found the most effective in actually getting you leads? I mean, you get leads, right? You're as well because so where's your lead funnel that has been really successful for you?
Okay, least successful Instagram.
Okay, surprisingly, because art and stuff, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I do put more stuff on my Instagram. But for whatever reason, maybe it's the algorithm, I don't know. For whatever reason, it's like not been that successful. Which I'm actually doing like an Instagram experiment right now. So we'll see what happens if that's true in like a month. And then Facebook has been really successful, but like really word of mouth. Like I've had people I don't even know just be like, can you make me this thing? I'm like, okay. All right. I don't know how you know me, but that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think Facebook, because I know so many people and they might just like tell their friends, and that's probably been the best place to get leads. But word of mouth, you don't have to have social media. Like, it doesn't have to be the way you get business.
Right.
There's people out there who get business who aren't on social media. So.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Or that use it sparingly, because it can definitely become an overwhelming kind of chore to be everywhere all the time. You know, there's that pressure, you know, that is some, you know, it's recommended sometimes, or that you see people doing and you're like, I can't be everywhere at once. I got to live my life. So, your video is freezing a little bit. Are you still there? So before we started this conversation, Cara shared with me that she had a computer glitch today where she turned on her computer and the internet didn't want to work. So that's why we're having this conversation right now like this with her in her car. So unfortunately, it looks like she froze up. I'm going to give her a couple minutes, or at least a minute, and just see if she comes back. But that kind of stuff happens sometimes. And this is the first episode. I am hoping this is actually streaming. It looks like we are. Oh, are you coming back? She's gone. All right. Well, Cara, I appreciate that you were here. I'm sorry that we lost you, but thank you so much for your time. And hopefully we'll get to do this again. I don't see why not. And to the rest of you, I hope you enjoyed tuning in for this conversation about being creative and running a business. I'll be back again next week. I have another guest. He is a real estate agent who plays music and was a music teacher for 20 years before becoming a realtor. So I'm looking forward to talking to him. If you do happen to be interested in a career in real estate, I know we didn't actually talk about that much, which is totally fine because creativity is great to talk about too. And there is an intersection, and we'll get more into that. But if you're interested in real estate or even in joining EXP, I'd love to tell you more about how amazing it is to massively grow your passive income and which allows you to have more time to do things you love, such as being creative. And yeah, I'm Anastasia. Thank you for listening. Stay creative. Bye-bye.